Carbon lines are drawn. On one side, the government has just released its new plan, a carbon tax and a rebate. Here's how they say the so-called climate action incentive payment will work. If you live in Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and New Brunswick, a family of four will pay between $202 and $403 a year in high gas and energy prices. But then that family will get a rebate for even more, up to say $598 in Saskatchewan. So will all this work or not? To find out more details about what could be the central issue in the next federal election, I'm joined now by the Environment Minister Catherine McKenna, who I've known long before she entered politics. Great to have you here.
Great to be on the show.
In some ways, this is one of the biggest weeks. Before we get to the details of the new plan, are you surprised how many provinces have already decided to opt out when you've got Ontario, New Brunswick, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan? They're all out, maybe Alberta as well. What's your sense of that?
Look, I think it's really unfortunate. We had always said it's up to provinces to design a system that puts a price on what we don't want, pollution, to get what we do want, less pollution, but also innovation. And companies have clean solutions in all those provinces, but there have been changes in governments. Some governments in Saskatchewan were never, supportive, but it's, we are where we are, so we have had to step in and design a system for those provinces.
Does it tell you something? Like, does it tell you that there's a movement now against the notion of a national price on carbon?
Well, I mean, I think it tells me that tells us that conservative politicians think that polluting should be free. Look, everyone agrees that we need to take action on climate change, I certainly hope, but you have to have a plan to do that. And so we were elected. We said we were going to tackle climate change. We're going to put a price on pollution. We were very clear. If provinces didn't act, we hoped that they would act. And we also said we would grow the economy and make sure that life is affordable for Canadians. And that's exactly, for the provinces where we've had to step in, that is exactly what our plan is.
Okay, let's get through the details because, you've seen Andrew Scheer's and Doug Ford and others, Jason Kennedy, they called it a gimmick. The math is wrong. It's going to do nothing. It's a tax and everything's going to go up in price. So, and we'll get to that. But let's just see how it works first. Explain, let's say there's a family of four in Ontario. They're driving their car. The price of gas is going to go up. The price to heat their home is going to go up. Other big emitters may pass on other costs. So the cost of living goes up. Your government argues about $244 a year in the first year, right, when it's $20 a ton. How did you come up with that number?
So that number is just based on looking at what would be the impact if you put a price on pollution. So as you say, the price of gas would go up, about 4 cents. So let's be clear, that's, on a weekend, you could have a higher fluctuation in a day, but that's a cost. And so we recognize that we need to be supporting families. I mean, Doug Ford has put it at $260, the extra cost. He said by scrapping cap and trade, saving families $260. We are giving back a family of four, every family of four in Ontario, $307. So it's more than the increased costs. And people might say, well, how does that make sense? Well, because when you put a price on pollution, you create an incentive for people to say, okay, I can save money by choosing a less polluting option. So I could better insulate my home. I could use LED lights. I might look at a more efficient vehicle. I might, take public transit. You can make those choices or not. That is up to you. But you will still get $307, which is more than what the cost would be.
Okay, the logic, some of the critics say the logic doesn't make sense. If a price signal is supposed to make me change my behavior, that's the underlying assumption of this. But if I'm getting more money back, what's the incentive to change my behavior?
It rewards people that are saying, I'm going to do something about reducing my pollution, because you will save more. So it doesn't matter. Everyone is going to get more, an average family of four that will get more than they will actually pay, but they could save more. So there's an incentive there. You would
so where does the, so again, I just want people to understand this. So where does the extra money come back from? Because, what you're selling is something that people are saying, wait, you're taxing me and I'm making money. How does that work? How are you getting the extra money?
So we've said all of the revenues that are collected in the province of Ontario will go back to Ontarians. So this is a price that's across the board. It's a price on everyone. It's on companies. It's a price on individuals. And so all of those revenues are coming back. That is why we decided that it makes sense to give 90% of the money back to individuals so that a family of four would receive $307 more than they would pay. We also have 10% that's going to go back to help support businesses, schools, hospitals, universities, cities, be more energy efficient so they can also save money.
Okay, Andrew Scheer says one of the reasons he calls this a gimmick is he said the average person's paying all the cost here, but you've let big emitters off the hook. There's all sorts of sort of special categories for big emitters that you've lowered standards on, and big emitters aren't paying. True or false?
Big emitters are paying. Everyone is paying under our system. I mean, Andrew Scheer has basically made polluting free. He would not put a price on big emitters. Once again, this is a smokescreen for not having a plan. The Conservatives federally do not have a plan. Conservative governments do not have plans that are serious. We need to meet our Paris Agreement target. Andrew Scheer said on this show that he is committed to meeting our Paris Agreement targets. So the question for everyone is, what are you going to do? Stop poking holes and saying things that aren't true about our plan and show Canadians what you would do.
Well, okay, he says he will have a plan. He said it on this program. He's going to have a plan that will actually meet the targets without a price on carbon. But my question to you is, with all this, will your government even be able to meet the targets? As far as anyone knows, the Environment Commissioner, the answer is no. In other words, this won't even hit the targets. What do you say to that?
So we have a plan that's a comprehensive plan across the board. Pricing pollution is just part of our plan. So we're phasing out coal by 2030. We're making historic investments in public transportation. So investments in the second phase of LRT in Ottawa, largest greenhouse gas reductions in the city's history. We're making investments in clean technology companies. So these solutions that are coming on board that are greatly reducing emissions. We're making investments in protecting more of our nature, reducing emissions by 40% in methane emissions from oil and gas.
But let's be candid. You're saying it's ambitious, but we still won't hit the targets. And I guess some people point at what Justin Trudeau said on Tout le monde parle, the big show in Quebec, and he said it really doesn't matter what Canada does. We're too small. Like, it won't make that much of a difference. Why? And many people say, why should we pay the big price? Why should our businesses and our consumers pay the price when China's building coal-fired plants and India's building coal-fired plants? If everybody's not on board, why are we paying a disproportionate share of the price?
So first of all, everyone has agreed in Canada, all political parties, that we need to do our part, that we need to meet our target. But beyond that, I mean, it would be like I'm going outside and I'm just going to take, my rubbish. I've got my coffee cup, and I'm just going to throw it on the ground because who cares? No, we're all part of this together. If everyone does that, we've got a big pollution problem. And that's the challenge right now. We all know what the problem is. We have too much pollution, that we're actually changing the climate. So across the country, Canadians know this. They've seen the impacts of climate change, whether it's forest fires or floods or droughts. In Montreal, 90 people died from extreme heat. We need to take action.
Okay, and last question. Ontario still says we're going to fight you. There are Scott Moe in Saskatchewan, we're going to fight you. Manitoba, we're going to fight you. Provinces have still said, sorry, this is going to be the election issue, and we are going to say no to this. What's the battle ahead? What happens on April 1st? Do people just start getting checks? Is that what happens? Or do they have to sign up and they get some tax rebate? What's the legal battle ahead here?
Well, I mean, in terms of the legal battle, we're well within our jurisdiction to put a price on pollution. This is in the national interest. Pollution doesn't know any borders. Manitoba actually got a legal opinion saying that we could do this.
It's legal because it's a tax, and you guys are in charge of taxes. That would be right? That's the legal opinion.
There's different arguments. In fact, I don't want to get into the semantics of this, but this isn't to raise revenue. This is to reduce pollution. Doug Ford is going to waste $30 million of taxpayer money that could be better invested in supporting hospitals or schools or businesses or cities and being more efficient and taking action on what we need to do, which is ensuring a more sustainable future for our kids. The buck, we're not going to pass this on. The buck stops with us. We need to take action on climate change. We know that. We also know what the solutions are. And that's why we're moving forward with our plan. But we're going to do it with people of Ontario, people of Manitoba, people of Saskatchewan, with all Canadians. And we're going to do it in a way that makes sure that life is affordable, that we are supporting them to be more energy efficient.
Although other governments, I just wonder if the people of Quebec say, geez, people in Ontario, people in Saskatchewan are getting big fat checks from the government. Let's dump our cap and trade. Let's take that. They're handing out checks. What if that starts happening?
You know, so Quebec has its own system. Quebec has been a leader in climate action. And guess what? They have one of the fastest growing economies in the country. And they are supporting, I've met so many business people in Quebec that have these clean solutions that are being used around the world. Agrisoma, it is a biofuels company that is using fuels in aviation. So Delta just took a plane that is 30% more efficient through technologies coming out of, clean technologies coming out of Quebec. They are positioning themselves well for the jobs of today, the jobs of the future. That's what we need to do. We can be smart, we can grow the economy, we can tackle climate change, we can protect the environment, and that's exactly what our government's going to continue to do.
All right, I got to leave it there. Catherine McKenna, thank you. And if you heard that 21-gun salute in the back and you saw all the smoke, that was not a climate change moment. That was just a 21-gun salute. Appreciate it, Minister.
Great, thanks.